Welcome, everybody, to this Therapy Business Club podcast with me, your host, Ewan Jupp, co-founder of the Therapy Business Club, helping therapists get online, market themselves, find their dream clients with resources, tools, a community. And we've got some great people involved in that community. And one of those therapists involved with us in Therapy Business Club is a wonderful friend called Anne Gage. Now, she'll be sharing something incredible today, actually. It's quite a different niche or angle for therapy that I've not been aware of. So today we'll be unpacking that. I know it will be of interest to every listener. And of course, if you're watching this on YouTube as well, like, subscribe, and share, as they say. So without further ado, Anne, I'm going to bring you on and just welcome you to today's podcast.
Thank you, Ewan. I'm so excited to be here.
You look pumped up, ready to share some wonderful gems with people.
I am. I love talking about what I do.
That's good. Passion about what we do is very important, isn't it? And just for the sake of reference, Anne, where are you based exactly?
I live in Ontario, Canada, about 80 kilometers northwest of Toronto, on a lovely, just under 50-acre farm.
Wow. You got your work cut out for you then, haven't you, with 50 acres, I'm presuming?
Yes, but we don't farm it all ourselves anymore. I used to have 25 horses here, and now I'm down to 2. And so our friend farmer across the road works most of the land now.
Okay. I imagine that's quite a stunning setting, open heaven.
It's beautiful. Yeah, I'm looking out at trees. Of course, it's autumn, so we have all the colors. Unfortunately, most of the leaves have fallen now, but yeah, I sit and look out this window and it's just grass and trees and pasture.
It's a
It's
lovely,
beautiful.
it's a lovely time of year, autumn or
It
fall, as
is.
you say in North
Yeah.
America. Yeah. Halloween coming up soon as well, if that means anything.
Tomorrow.
Oh, yes, you're right. That's right. Now, and we've had a few guests on these podcasts, and predominantly it's been hypnotherapists, which you are a hypnotherapist as well as some other things that we'll come on to. But your type of work, it's intriguing to me. I'm not sure I fully understand it. So, by way of introduction, what is it you do exactly? An overview for our listeners.
So, what I mostly do is work with midlife horsewomen, so 40s and up, some women even in their early 70s, who have developed anxiety about horse riding, whether that's due to a serious injury or a fall or just life responsibilities causing them to feel more anxious. And I have always done it on Zoom. All of my coaching is done on Zoom using NLP and hypnosis, and my experience as a horse rider, as a horse trainer, understanding horse behavior, and having come through my own experience of having completely lost my confidence for riding about 15 years ago.
I was going to ask you about that. How one gets into this sort of thing, and obviously there's some sort of trigger for you, Anne.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
can you just say
It
what?
it was one of my, so I used to breed horses, and it was one of my own horses I had bred. He was a youngster. He was really easy going. We hadn't had any training issues with him. And one day I got on him. We walked away from the mounting block, and he started bucking like he was at the Calgary Stampede in a rodeo. Um, it turned out, we found out after the fact, he had some physical problem going on, but that we weren't aware of. But I hit the dirt, wasn't injured, but I could not get on another horse after that. I don't know why that particular incident triggered it, because obviously as a rider, I've come off many times. But I would literally stand there with my feet glued to the mounting block. Like I could not put my foot in the stirrup.
Mm,
And it, at the time, there weren't, that I was aware of, confidence coaches around to help. In fact, we didn't talk about being scared as a rider. It was just frowned upon. It was just get back up, get in the saddle, carry on. And I couldn't. So I had to figure out a way to do it on my own or give up what I was doing, because as a riding coach and a horse trainer, I had to get on horses. I had to be able to ride. So I knew a little bit of NLP from having read some books in my 20s and 30s. And so I applied some of that. And
Just for
it took a
people
long
listening,
time.
sorry to interrupt. Man. Some people might be thinking, NLP,
Mhm.
is that some sort of secret horse,
Oh,
whatever? So what is that in a nutshell then? NLP.
neuro-linguistic programming, which is basically, I mean, neuro is brain, linguistic is language, and programming obviously is how we use those things. So it's how pictures we see, how we speak to ourselves, how our brain filters information in and out. And hypnosis actually uses NLP, and NLP uses a little bit of hypnosis. It's all kind of related.
Mm.
So using that, with what little I knew, and support of my husband and some friends, I managed to get myself back in the saddle and work through it. But then I realized how many other women were out there struggling. And I started holding workshops and then came across women who had deeper trauma than I was really able to help them with based on what I had, how I had helped myself. So I took an NLP certification in the UK because my mom lives over there. And during that, there's a little bit of hypnosis. I was not a believer of hypnosis until I took that. And when I went back and did my master practitioner training, I used hypnosis to make my trainer completely catatonic. She had her shoulders on one chair and her feet on another chair and was completely stiff as a board. And that's when I really saw the power of hypnosis and started using it more and more with my clients.
Okay.
And yeah, that's how I really got into that.
That's fascinating. Like you, I'm a hypnotherapist and NLP's in there and vice versa. I suppose when you have an incident, it's very hard to get back into it. People fall off bicycles, things that they've been doing for decades, but just takes one little literal physical knock and a pleasure that they've enjoyed for much of their life is suddenly curtailed. It's really high impacting emotionally as well. And I suppose it's more than just, all right, look, just get over it and get on with it again and move forward. That's obviously you found out that wasn't enough. There's something in the mind that gets locked up, doesn't it?
That's right. Yeah, it does. Some little switch gets flicked, and that prehistoric part of our brain that controls the fear starts setting off that alarm that just steals the joy, because when you're that scared, um, but you keep trying, there's obviously a real passion for whatever it is that you're wanting to do, whether it's riding or mountain biking or something else. And I've had clients who've had panic attacks about riding, have panic attacks in the saddle, which is really not a good place to be having a panic attack sitting on the back of a horse.
No.
And have, through working together, have completely eliminated those. And actually, the one rider I'm thinking of was one of my earlier clients, and she went on during COVID. They would run horse shows online, so you videotape yourself riding and submit it. And she was winning all sorts of shows. And after COVID, she kept going to shows, and that panic was completely gone and never came back.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
I suppose a successful ride, you keep reinforcing then that you are confident and
exactly.
it builds
Yeah,
again. It is just, I
yeah.
suppose, getting
And
back.
that's part of what I help them with as well, because with riding, it is, I mean, there's a risk to riding. We all accept that as riders. Um, but it's how you you develop resilience rather than going back down that rabbit hole of fear about, okay, this happened, what do I learn from it, what would I do differently going forward? So if something does happen, that you don't end up back where you were. You've got the mindset and the resilience to move forward from that.
I love that. I have to give you a candid confession now. I've never ridden horse. I would, I would,
You're not alone.
I would love to, but I just fear them. They're just magnificent creatures. It's not that I'm scared that they're beastly. It's just so magnificent, strong. And I think, I don't know what I would expect. So is that something that you also deal with, helping non-riders sort of get into the saddle for the first time or not?
It's not something I have worked with, no. A lot of people, when they start, if they want to ride, they don't realize um, the danger, I guess,
No.
the danger side of it, the risk side of it. And they just have this sort of Disney-fied and actually some of the women I work with too have a Disney-fied vision of what riding is about, and that there's this beautiful connection with the horse, and the horse is looking after you, and it's all going to be rainbows and sunshine, but you're sitting on 1,000-pound or 500-kilogram prey animal.
Mm.
So think of a deer.
You've just helped my
uh,
confidence even more get on the horse now, Anne.
so when you're getting on a horse, you have to know what you're
Getting on.
dealing with and understand. And that's the other part of this, and this is why riders come to me, because I understand this, the horse's behavior and what the horse needs from the rider. So I bring that part into my coaching, because yes, mindset's a huge part of it, but if you don't understand the animal you're sitting on or handling from the ground even, that's when we can get into trouble. So we need this awareness, we need clear, calm thinking and the understanding of the animal to be able to give them what they need to keep them calm.
Okay.
And that way you're both safe.
Yeah, I like that very much. What is the sort of duration that it takes typically to get people who've lost their confidence back on that saddle?
I do a 4-week program or a 4-session program,
Okay.
and the majority of people are really don't need the 4th session. um, so we start to see shifts in the first session, after the first session, and then it just increases with every session afterwards. But yeah, with 4 sessions, they're good.
Would visualization be a big part of that then? You know,
It is. I use it a lot in
okay.
that.
Tell me about that.
Well, what happens, of course, when you've had uh, a fall, a bad fall, or even an injury with the horse, is your mind replays that, and that's the what ifs about, and that's all you see. And so we work on changing that. So one of the questions I'll ask is, tell me your best ride ever. And it doesn't have to be on the horse that you're riding now. Just tell me about the best ride ever. And I can see immediately a change in their physiology, they'll smile. And so we work with that one as the starting point for them to keep replaying of them being on that horse, what they see, what they hear, what they feel, all of the emotions of that. And that's part of their homework usually after they're in their first session, is
Okay.
replay that. And then we get into, if they want to be doing a particular activity, that they visualize it the way they want it to be.
Very good.
And again, they have to do that over and over. And we bring that into their hypnosis sessions as well.
Okay. So they
Just
are
creating that positive outcome. Yeah.
so they are in hypnosis at that point. You sort of do any stuff outside. That's good. When they finally get back in the saddle with all that the resources you've installed, Anne, are you there physically with them, or that's just them doing their thing? No. Okay.
No, this is all done on Zoom. And they might be in Australia or France or somewhere in the United States or the UK or another part of Canada. So I can't be there with them. Some of them do have coaches. They're working, like riding coaches or trainers they're working with, and their trainers notice a change in the
Mm,
person's mindset,
yeah.
and they're more comfortable and confident in the saddle. And some of them don't. So I do have them, they can stay in touch with me between our sessions, and even after our sessions, I'll follow up with them to find out ask how they're doing. And I encourage them, if they don't have a trainer, to send me a video of them riding, so I can have a look at what they're doing, because sometimes, well, you probably know, posture affects how you feel. So if you don't have the right posture in the saddle, you're going to be off balance, and that's going to affect how you feel.
You've just reminded me, actually, my posture is something my wife talks all the time. I think it's,
Um,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so there's different components of doing
Yeah.
this coaching. Yeah.
How long have you been doing this?
Uh, no, where are we? 5 years now
Okay.
online. Yeah.
So, any standout stories, Anne, of people who you've really been able to help and you can say, yeah, I remember that.
Yep. Well, the first one I already alluded to a little bit was the one who was having the panic attacks.
Hmm.
Her problem was with cantering or loping, because she rode Western. But if she'd be fine, she could walk and trot. And then if she thought about, or her coach suggested that she lope or canter, she would have a panic attack. But then it started to affect her. She couldn't trot and she couldn't get on her horse. And so, and it was starting to affect her in her life. She was just, that anxiety was transferring into her life as well.
Hmm.
So, that's the one who, after working together, she was off doing horse shows, she was loping, she was enjoying it all, and still is years on. Um, Another one, actually, a lot of issues came up about her, things that were going on in her life or had gone in the, it wasn't about a fall she'd had, but there was issues from in her life that was affecting her confidence generally, which was showing up as lack of riding confidence,
Hmm.
anxiety about riding. And another one was a lovely lady. She just wanted to go out hacking her horse out on trails. And again, she could get on her horse, but she couldn't complete a ride, even with company. And she ended up being able to ride her horse out on her own whenever she wanted to.
Wonderful.
And those are the stories that keep me doing what I'm doing, because you could see it has such an impact on them in their happiness, which of course affects other things outside of their life. A lot of the people I work with, because they're mature women, they're doing this as a way of relaxing, of getting away from the stress of life, and it's become another stressor. And it's really sad, and they're very sad. And so it all changes
Yeah.
and
It's,
impacts the people around them as well.
of course, of course. I mean, as therapists, we know it's the reason is not always the reason. It's not necessarily there's a direct issue with the horse per
That's
se.
right.
There's something else impacting them, which then impacts on something that they really love doing, horse riding.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Yeah. And often they may have had an accident when they were younger or on a different horse, and now they've got a new horse that's lovely and perfect and hasn't put a foot wrong, as we say in the horse world, but they still can't enjoy riding. And so that's when they seek me out.
okay. Are these competitive riders or riders of any type?
No, the riders of any type. A lot of them are pleasure riders.
Okay.
And some of them I've worked with dressage riders, as I said, Western, people who show a little bit of Western, and eventers as well.
Okay. I'm a newbie here. When you say Western, I think now what could that
Cowboy,
cowboy?
cowboy.
Okay.
Think
I
of the,
thought I thought it, yeah,
yeah.
but I didn't want to say it to sound stupid. That's all. Okay.
No, that's fine. It's, I mean, yeah, I use these terms and forget the people who aren't in the horse world won't know
Yeah,
what they mean
that's
necessarily.
true.
Most people know what dressage is. If you watch the
Yeah.
Olympics at all, and eventing, they're big in the UK.
Yeah, huge.
Western is not that big in the UK, but it's that discipline of the cowboy. So the saddle with the big, the big heavy saddles, and working cattle or going over obstacles. And there's all sorts of different, disciplines that they do.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I'd imagine at the competition level, when you're successful, the pressure to keep succeeding is quite stressful. And that, if you get a poor
Not,
result, that must knock on your confidence as well.
yeah, but not even at the high levels. I mean,
Hmm.
there are local shows, we call them schooling shows here, but little local shows where don't win money. You might win some ribbons or rosettes or little trophies of some sort. And they're fun. People do them for fun and to sort of challenge themselves a bit. And there's a lot of nerves around that, and there's a lot of self-judgment
Mm.
and performance anxiety. So that's another area that I'm expanding into now, is to helping people with
Okay.
who more in the show area.
Wonderful. Wonderful. This is going to sound right, far left, coming from the far left, but I remember that film, A Horse Whisperer from the 90s. Robert Redford got the paces, pulses racing, but there was a sort of spiritual almost connection between him and his character and the horse. I always found that really a magical thing, that film. I'm sure that's not something you do, but do you sort of encourage that connection? Is that connection really there? I mean, what goes on? What is that about? Is that part of your
Connection
work?
is, well, connection is a huge part of it. I mean, everybody I talk to about who potential clients are talking about, I want that connection with my horse. And if you're fearful, you can't connect.
Hmm.
Um, if you're afraid of your horse, even though you love your horse, but you're afraid of getting hurt, you can't have that connection. And connection is one of those words that's going to mean different things to different
Sure,
people.
sure.
Basically, it's about trust. And so the person trusting their horse and the horse also trusting the person. And when you have that, when you show up at the barn or the yard and your horse is at the back of the paddock eating some grass or hay, but he sees you come and he chooses to walk over to the gate, that's something special, because a lot of horses, when they see their person, will run away.
Wow.
The horse needs to feel safe and to trust and to be, what we're doing with them outside of the paddock needs to be a positive experience for them. So it's a lot of it. What I'm talking to people about their horses about, it's kind of the same things the person needs is what the horse needs.
Hmm.
So again, that's what I bring into, because there are hypnotists who of course work with anxiety, and some horse riders would go, but they're missing that bit, the horse knowledge, that understanding of how that all works, which is a key component of it. You can't be confident with that animal if you don't trust it, and if it doesn't trust you.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
insightful.
it's not the Disney-fied connection. Um, and horses are used a lot in therapy, equine assisted therapies and equine assisted learning, because they are so perceptive. What they're perceptive about is body language.
Wow.
And our emotions come through in our body language. You cannot fool a horse. You might be able to fool a person about how you're feeling, but you can't fool a horse.
What is it they're picking up on then? It's almost like sixth sense.
Yep. Well, they're prey animals, so they are masters at reading body language. They know, say, as a zebra in the Serengeti can be grazing by a pride of lions and not be concerned. But as soon as the lion's body language changes and they're starting to get into hunting mode, they know and they'll take off. But they've got to conserve their energy. They can't be running constantly. So they're experts at that. They're masters at that. And as humans, we will pretend that we're okay, that we're brave, or we're not worried. But the horse sees incongruency in
Okay.
our body language. They pick it up and they don't like it. They don't feel safe around that.
Gosh, I can't fake it then, because as I said, I am scared of horses. But if I'm ever at a place where there's a horse and I want to stroke it, I try and think, come on, let's try and do this. So, but
Yeah,
they're
you
reading my
can.
language.
Yeah, the best thing to do is breathe. A horse will mirror your breathing. So you know about breathing techniques, you're feeling nervous. This is one I teach everybody, because if you're really panicked, you can't think to count numbers. So just make your exhale longer than your inhale. And if you do that and you stand with a horse, even if you're on the opposite side of a fence or a stall with them, they will often start to mirror you. So they're calm and you're calm. And then if all you do is extend your hand out towards their nose and let them bring their nose to you, that's how horses greet. They sniff noses. So you mimic that by putting your hand out. So the next time you see a horse, you're going to focus on your breathing, and from an arm's distance away or more, put your hand out and let the horse bring his nose to you
And
before you
really,
do
and really,
anything.
okay. And really not let it know that I might be thinking it's going to nibble my hand or so.
Well, you can tell the horse, I'm a little nervous. No, he's not going to bite your hand. And especially if you show it this way, not this way. This way
Okay.
means I might have a treat in my hand. This way means there's nothing. And when you go to pat the horse, don't pat its head. Go to its shoulder.
Oh, okay. The difference being,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So,
There you go.
okay. Two tips for takeaway. Well, that's worth it just for this. Okay, excellent. Are you
And
in
let
the
me know how it goes.
yeah. Well, I'm very fortunate actually, and where I live is rural farmland. There's everyone's got horses, and we have wild horses on the moor around us as well.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it's a beautiful area, of
Yeah.
course. So I'm very fortunate. I just need to get over the phobia, don't I? And get on with it.
I can help you. I can help you.
I know you can. Are you in the saddle regularly, Anne, or not so much these days, or what?
Um, I try to get out 3 or 4 times a week. I have an ex-race thoroughbred. He's 14 now. He actually belongs to a friend, and she wasn't riding him. So I keep him at a different farm where they have an indoor arena, because we need that here in Canada for the winters. And he's been a project for me because he came with some issues. So I've been working through his issues for I've had him now for 2.5 years. And I just go and enjoy nice, gentle, easy rides on him.
Yeah.
That's my relaxation and gets me out of the house, away from the laptop.
Yeah. So the incident that triggered that initial confidence issue completely gone now for you. Yeah.
Completely gone. Oh
Wonderful.
yeah.
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 Okay. Therapy Business Club, and is all about helping therapists market themselves, get their message.
Yeah.
We all do it in different ways, and I suppose our niche determines how we're going to reach out. I suppose for you, I mean, I'm presuming if you're in the horse scene, you probably meet a lot of people, and in conversation, it might come up about the anxieties they have. How does it work for you to
Not
get
really.
yourself out there, market? How are you
So
marketing?
I'm not out in the horse world so much anymore because I don't show. And I have Taz, the horse I work with, is in a small barn. There are not a lot of riders there, and I've as I've had a website for a long time because I love my focus earlier as a horse riding coach and horse trainer, and all the things I did with that. So I do have a website. I've got a Facebook presence, so I have a private Facebook group called the Horse Riding Confidence Community. I have an email list, which I've built over years, again, because of my previous business. It's just the focus has shifted. And what I'm really focusing on building up now is YouTube
Good.
and LinkedIn. And
Yeah.
LinkedIn, because I'm expanding into more performance mindset. Figure that's where some of those clients might be hanging out. And YouTube, and actually being in the business therapy club has been real help for building my channel, which I've had for years but haven't really done a lot with. And so all of the tips I'm learning about putting up, the meditation YouTubes, and doing some videos without having my face on the camera, and getting things keyword SEO keywords and all of these things that are going to help people to find me, because that's where my business is online. It's not, I don't do local.
No.
It's just all online.
Yeah. And I've seen the stuff you're putting out, and I commend you. You are taking action, and action takers get results. That's the bottom line. And YouTube is a great place to be. Most people are consuming video content. I find it engaging, and to get out there. I know sometimes it's a bit of a nervous thing to do. What will people perceive me as? But I think, you do it a few times, and people start liking and subscribing, leaving comments. And all of a sudden your confidence grows. And I think it's one of the best ways to engage your ideal client, really. They're out there, they're looking, they're searching, how to get over confidence to riding horse. These are the sort of typical search queries that people are using. So you're servicing that. LinkedIn is an interesting one. I think LinkedIn's not for everyone, but I think performance issues like that, that's probably a better place for some things than Instagram or Facebook. It's hard to get away from Instagram and Facebook because there's just so many people on there, really, isn't there? But
yeah, why I started to focus on LinkedIn was because I'm looking for clients with the money.
Yeah, good
to invest, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And I was finding on Facebook that's not the crowd I was getting in front of. I'm still able to help people because I have some lower price sort of pre-recorded programs, classes, and that type of thing. But I found YouTube has brought me people onto my list. My email list is showing more of, I'm a hypnotist to talk to people, so they need to hear my voice. They need to see me.
Yeah.
So as hypnotists, if we're nervous about, and I was nervous about doing videos at the beginning, but being in the therapy club, if you're nervous about it, you can record videos and put them in there and get feedback from supportive people.
Yeah.
Right. And sort of get your, and you could get help we're hypnotists. We can help each other with little fears, right? Like horse ride, like touching a horse, Ewan.
Exactly.
Someone can help you with doing video, because the first time you do anything, it's always going to be when you leave your comfort zone.
Yeah.
You're going to be nervous, but do it anyway.
Yeah. Feel the fear and do it anyway.
That's the book I read when I was dealing with my anxiety about riding. That was the book I read.
That's a great advice.
Yeah. It's also the book I read when I was doing public speaking.
Okay.
When I had to do that with the job I had at the time. Toastmasters, that's another good way to get comfortable speaking, even if it's on video, is Toastmasters or something like that.
Yeah. Just do something. I think for therapists who are newly qualified, I think many feel that just by virtue of the fact they've got a certificate and they're passionate about what they want to do and is enough. It won't be enough.
It's not enough. I think business. I am constantly marketing.
Yeah.
What I do.
Thank you for saying that.
And you can't stop. You cannot stop. I said, I've been doing this version of my business for 5 years. And, even previously as a horse riding coach and horse trainer, even though it wasn't online at the time, it was constantly advertising, talking to people, putting up flyers, the kinds of things you can do as a local business if you're, working. And it's all stuff that you and Kev are sharing and teaching people in the therapy business club.
Yeah. Fortunately, with online now.
And it's supportive.
Yeah.
You need a support group.
You do.
Having a support group, especially when you do so much online or you're working from home, is the isolation.
Yeah.
Right. So the club gives us a place where we can get feedback and support. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the advent of, in the internet, I know it's got some bad things, but as far as businesses, people are there. There's a lot of great tools like Canva, even ChatGPT, and many ways that we can use as therapists now to engage the people we really want to work best with. as well as
Yes.
offline, local. I mean, I still advertise locally as well and get business through that. So very good. I know you've got one-to-one coaching programs, Anne, is that correct? And your horse
Yes.
riding
And
confidence club.
yes, my membership, it's a group coaching membership.
Yeah,
So we do Zoom calls every 2 weeks, fortnightly. And it just flows with whatever the members need to talk about. I don't prepare anything for it. It's just show up and coach.
good. You sound very experienced. I'm sure you're just speaking from the overflow of years of doing this, which is
As I
wonderful.
said, I've been in business a long time.
Yeah,
I've been a hypnotist, a hypnotherapist for about 5 years. So, and gone completely online in the last 3 years. I only have two riding students left. I sort of semi-retired from that. I
mm,
don't train horses anymore. So the everything I'm doing is about the hypnosis, helping those riders, and it's all online.
great, great. Compassionate woman. Thank you for your therapy approach and for being my guest today. And I found it very engaging. Thank you so much. I've learned a lot. The links to your social links, for example, YouTube and your horse riding confidence club, I'll make sure they're included on the YouTube and wherever else this is posted, how people can get in touch with you.
My website is confidenthorsemanship.com.
Confidencehorsemanship.com, right?
Everything else is Anne Gage, the horse riding confidence coach.
Okay. I mean, that's pretty explicit, isn't it? The horse riding confidence coach. I like that. It's very direct. I know what you do.
Yeah.
Well, we'll make sure we post those links wherever this podcast is distributed. And I want to thank you for being a very special guest today on the Therapy Business Club podcast. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. I've enjoyed it too, you, and thank you for inviting me to do this. It's been fun.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you, listener or viewer, for watching this or listening to this on Spotify, wherever you've consumed this. I hope it was insightful and helpful to you. Please follow us on YouTube and look out for our next podcast where who knows what we'll be talking about, but I'm sure it'll be beneficial to you as a therapist. And maybe if you're not a therapist, it will help you some way. Until that time, goodbye.